This is almost 100 pieces just right here. And if you break some of the parts down into smaller pieces, it's more than that. So if you've ever wondered why custom fabricated anything is so much, this is why. We like to show you the behind the scenes. We like to show you what it takes to do something. A lot of times you see it and you see the final product and it looks amazing, or or you can't tell it's there at all. But what you don't see is the amount of effort, design, fabrication, engineering that goes into being able to accomplish that. All right, hey guys, Jay from Showtime Audio. Just wanted to show you, we just finished up Steve's IS500 project and wanted to show you what it takes to build a trunk like that. The amount of parts and pieces, check this out. So this is templates, jigs, test pieces, design ideas, jigs to make the final parts, different materials, cardboard, you name it. I mean, but just wanted to show you. So a lot of times we get asked, well, why does it take so long, or why does it cost so much, right? Well, this is nothing that we actually used in the build. Like, this is all the stuff that we had to use to build the stuff in the build. So it's a lot of parts and pieces. And you would ask, well, why is there 5 or 6 versions of something? Well, a lot of times we have to account for certain things. So we have to make a different part depending on how intricate the part is. So in the example of the side panels, we counted, there's almost 20 pieces in each side panel in the final product. Now, in order to make those 20 pieces, you have 20 pieces, jigs, test pieces, design ideas, something to make sure that your idea works. And this is only the stuff that actually made the cut per se, right? 2 or 3 more times this that either didn't work, wasn't the right size, was off by just a little bit. And when you're looking for that level of like detail, precision, fit and finish, you can make the same part over 10 times. And I'm not picky or anything, so unfortunately, a lot of the times I make parts multiple times. And you would say, well, just make it right the first time. It's a lot easier said than done. So you're working with materials that, like in the case of leather, the thickness of the leather changes from a single hide. It's the same hide, but it can be thicker at the ends than in the center. It can be tougher in some areas. There's all kinds of variables that come into play when you're working with a lot of the different materials. We also have carbon fiber, suede. So those are all like ideas. So if you'll notice, so a lot of these things were incorporated into the car. But what we do is we make sure we can do it before we spend a bunch of time, money, effort in order and try something and it fails or it doesn't look quite right. Because a lot of times if you spent a ton of time making something and it doesn't look quite right or it's ugly, because you spent so much time on it, you're probably gonna use it. Well, that would drive me insane. So rather than do that, I make a small test piece and make sure I can do it on a small scale before we do it on a large scale, on the actual version that we're going to do. We do that with basically everything. So we call it cardboard, right? So we make a lot of things out of cardboard because cardboard is cheap, it's easy, it's quick, and we can physically check it to a certain point, obviously. Once you start into actually building the parts, then you need physical parts like wood, plexi, metal, whatever it is you need. But even like the press grills. So these are jigs, these entire assemblies had to be made just to make the press grills. And if you could see, that one's ripped, so that one failed. So basically we had to adjust the press grill in order to keep it from failing. So, but again, these are all things that you can't know until you do it, right? Until we press it, we're trying stuff that maybe is pushing the limits a little bit. And when you push the limits, you break stuff. Stuff doesn't go always as planned. Anybody that tells you that does is lying. That's called TV. That's called editing. but everybody that I know, there is multiple curse words and versions of stuff because you thought it worked and it did not. You made 2 lefts or you made 2 rights instead of a left and a right. Don't ask me how I know. But again, just look at the amount of stuff, the amount of parts, the amount of little pieces. And a lot of these, again, they're pieces to make sure that the piece works before we make it out of the actual material. Because let's say it's acrylic, or let's say it's aluminum, or let's say it's carbon fiber. Before we waste a bunch of material, we want to make sure that it's going to fit and work.
Visit our website at showtimeaudiochicago.com.